to the Rocky Mountain Skeptic Society aftershow. Yeah.
Well, you were the only one that could use those weird headphones tonight.
Whatever.
Or the other night.
Yeah, I
Whatever.
think
Oh, Dan brought a different set.
so these are my regular.
Cleaning ones.
Yep. These are my good headphones.
I'll buy you another pair on Wednesday.
Why?
Because you keep fucking losing them.
Don't you mean he'll buy himself another pair?
I mean, that's the same difference. His money, my money, my money, my money. It's all my money.
Let's not talk about the gender disparities of paycheck use, please.
For the male.
Wage gap and all that, you know?
Hey, I make good money for what I do. Stay at home with my kids. Then I go to work, take care of my disabled client for decent money. I can bring my kids. I mean, there's really no bad thing about my job.
Well, you're probably going to hear some kids in the background because we actually aired this show a week after episode 5.
And we all have family lives.
Yeah, we all have a family life, and we don't have time to sit around and as we're recording. We got plenty of time. The thing is, it was late, and I think everyone wasn't feeling it anymore after airing that first episode. So, plus it's a new format and all that. So, there are some updates coming up. So, if you guys haven't figured out, and if you watch our Facebook page, you know that this is kind of an experimental podcast. We started out with the first 5 episodes, kind of pushing it to social media to see how well we were accepted. And so far, it's been pretty good. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to... I cashed out my stock. And with that money, I'm going to put down a serious down payment on a podcasting hosting site, and then pay for a membership there. And then we will be available for download through like iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and personally I use Podcast Go. Just go to your Google App Store with your smartphone, Podcast Go, and it pretty much grabs podcasts from any kind of hosting website like that. So if you guys want to download us later on and find us there, we will most likely be on there. So you could download us, listen to us in your car.
Yeah, but they can also use the YouTube converters to download it as well, too. They have tons of free ones.
That's technically not allowed. But if you can find a YouTube downloader and you can convert our videos to audio, you're more than welcome. You have my permission personally. But
mine's there, if that counts.
Yeah, I do it all the time with certain audio files that are not in podcast form, like TED Talks. A lot of times you can't find those in podcasts, and you can download those too.
Most of my music.
Downloaded from YouTube? Why don't you just use FrostWire?
Because I don't want my wires to frost up.
Oh my god. We're already going there.
I'm not even going to say anything to that.
Dad jokes 24/7, yo.
I don't even know if that's a dad joke. That's just dry. Like biting into a block of styrofoam dry.
Well, then you better have a drink.
I'm going to right
It'll be
now.
less dry.
So, anyway. All
right. So, I figured we'd do something a little more sober, maybe. If you, we normally get buzzed on the regular episodes. I think all of us are pretty well sober now. And I'd like to ask you guys a real question. All 3 of us are going to answer. And actually, I have 2 questions. The first one, really, in reality, I mean, I don't want you guys trying to inflate this whole situation, but where do you see our world, the United States or the world at large, in 5 years?
War. Gone. Not what we grew up thinking it was going to be or how things were going to be. It's going to be a complete and utter mess. People against people, which it always has been. But I think that the situations are going to get quite a bit worse as far as revolutions and civil wars and things like that.
I see our society being more like in V for Vendetta, to where everything's basically monitored and policed, and basically our rights will be taken away. I mean, they're already working on slowly taking them away right now.
I hate to say it, but I kind of agree with you, man. I don't think there's enough people with the balls to try to take this thing to war and actually fight.
I don't think our society nowadays, everyone's more of a talker. They're a window warrior. I don't see that there's enough people to actually stand up and actually back what they say. I'm not saying there aren't people out there that are going to try and fight back, but the way we're going and how society is nowadays, I feel like the society we have now is filled with nothing but hypocrites.
You know what freaks me out is I didn't read it. I watched the movie, the original, Orwell's 1984, and we're not far from that. It's freaky because you have, instead of monitors on the wall that watch everything you do, you have it in your hand. It's your phone. Your smartphone is monitoring everything you type, everywhere you go. That in itself is freaky.
Right, all you got to do is go onto your web browser, search something, and then pull up your Facebook, and all of a sudden you get advertisements for what you were just looking at. It's like, huh.
Well, now
so I use my web browser, but yet my Facebook app knows what I was looking for.
Now, a lot of these private companies, I'm not so scared of. Because believe it or not, as much as I hate to admit it, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube are actually pro-privacy when it comes to the government snooping around and what we upload or our private communications on like Facebook.
Yeah, well, in a lot of like Facebook, what it's doing is it's reading off of your cookies.
But on the other hand, I just want to cut in for just a second. That is in the terms and conditions. When you install the app on your phone, it asks to run, when it goes to, before it'll even run the app, it asks, and you have to push allow. Yeah. So those are choices that people are making to have that app. And that's all I want to say about that.
No, I agree. When it's used for like sales data, it really doesn't bother me. What it boils down to, though, is that protection is only protected by the Constitution. And we've already seen a million times that over time, shall not be infringed doesn't mean anything. The Supreme Court found, for whatever reason, decided that they can amend whatever they want. So how long is YouTube and Facebook going to be able to fight back against those privacy issues, and how long will it take before government gets to see everything you've ever written on Facebook, everything you've ever written in private messenger, everything you've ever emailed? And that shit is a reality. Now, as far as everything else goes, the neighbor, you being afraid of saying anything around people because you're afraid you're going to get arrested, it's Orwellian. If you read the book or watch 1984, it's exactly like that. They're afraid to talk. There's no genders anymore. They can't have relationships.
I guess I'm going to have to watch that movie because I've never seen it.
It's black and white. It's kind of a...
Doesn't mean it couldn't be a good movie.
No, it's a damn good movie. It's an even better book, I've heard. I still have never read it, but I kept wanting to know what Orwellian meant. When you start getting interested in the liberty movement, you'll hear that word a lot, Orwellian or draconian. And Orwellian type laws, Orwellian type society, an Orwellian dystopia pretty much means like a police state, and you can't do anything without somebody watching, and you get punished for any sort of free thought. Any sort of individual expression is gone. And we're almost working towards that right now, and everyone's just embracing it. And that's why I said I don't think enough people are, awake enough to fight, awake enough to start, their little revolution or whatever. And it's really not my job to make people do that. But that goes into our next question here.
I just want to say one last thing about that. I think when it comes down to it, I think people are going to come out of the woodwork, and they're not going to want to lose what they have. But I think it's going to have to come down to one side or the other before they actually are willing to pick a side.
I don't even think it's that. I think
maybe I have more hope in humanity than you guys.
They're moving. The powers at play that are trying to accomplish this are moving so slow that it's a multi-generational move.
My whole thought to it is, we just had that whole thing with everyone supposedly going to storm Area 51. How quickly did that die down? How many people said they were going to do it? And what? The 20th is coming up. How many people are actually going to follow through? They're wanting to do it because they feel the government's hiding stuff from them. But when it comes down to grass, how many people are actually going to even show up?
None.
I'm not supporting that whole thought. I think it's kind of stupid because obviously you're going to get shot if you go on a government site that's posted that they will shoot you. But it falls down to the whole same thing. People aren't standing by what they say.
Not on the other hand of that, though, if they were really going to do it, they shouldn't have said anything. They should have just done it.
How are you supposed to see? That's the thing. There's like a tug of war between mass communication between people, and at this very moment, we have the capability of rounding up a huge number of people for a cause if everyone tends to agree. The problem is the powers that be, talking about like big social media sites, really squash shit when it comes down to like libertarian movements, conservative movements. They are shutting that shit down, right? So the second you put your idea out there, it's silenced, and it's allowing the other side to really win. And it's scary because not all of us are so opposed to their thoughts that we're like the whole gender equality, trans movement, the LGBT. I'm not 100% against that. I think some of their grievances are true. They have real applications. On the other hand of that, though, I have never personally did anything to those people yet. If I come out and say anything, I mean, look at Dave Chappelle. The guy's been a minority comedian for 20 years now?
Right.
He's been on TV for a long time. And now all of a sudden people are starting to have an issue with him because he doesn't fit the narrative, right? A black man talking about trans people, talking about racism, talking about Trump, I don't know. But when you can't say anything, especially out of comedy, when it's supposed to be politically incorrect stuff that comes out of your mouth. And then
it's all supposed to be comedy. It's supposed to be a joke. It's supposed to be humor. Why is humor all of a sudden being censored?
It's not even censorship. It's like you make a joke and then they make it sound like that's really what you said. Like you meant it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, two blacks walk into a bar and it's like all of a sudden you're racist. And it's like, well, it's just part of the joke. So yeah, you literally can't say and that's Hollywood, So they're a little more, the scrutiny when it comes to that kind of stuff is a little higher than it is there's still people in town that say the N-word on a regular basis and they don't mind, but we're out in the middle of nowhere. So
there's no one to mind.
Right. But how long is it going to take for that to come here? And with the whole digital age.
It's already here, though. I mean, there are people here who are trans, who are whatever they are, and choosing to be whoever they choose to be. And that is more than fine. I don't care. If you want to be a man, be a man. You want to be a woman, be a woman. You want to be gay, trans, bi, whatever. Whatever it is that you find politically correct for yourself, it's fine. I personally don't care because it does not impact my daily life. But when it does is when people who they want this gender equality or this trans equality, and yet they think there's something special.
See, what they're
being gay does not make you special. Being gay is just who you are.
I think what you're trying to say
bothers me.
Is they don't want equality.
They want more. They want more.
No, okay, hold on. I'm not talking for every trans, every gay person out there, every lesbian. Listen, that's not what I mean when I say this. The left doesn't want gays or trans or anybody else to be equal. They want them to be a privileged class. They want blacks to be a privileged class, okay? Because right now there's this idea that whites are a privileged class. And maybe in some circumstances they can be. Who knows, right? But that comes down to the individual and on an interactive basis. You go to the DMV and there's a white guy sitting behind the counter. Maybe he's racist. Maybe he makes the black dude wait longer than the white dude does to get his driver's license renewed. Who knows, right? But that's on an individual basis. What they are considering and what they're saying is that that specific situation happens everywhere all the time, and it's something that. So when we hear racist, and then when they say racist, they mean two totally different things. Okay, we think of racist like going and lynching somebody because of their color. That's racist, right?
Yeah.
Or burning crosses in their yard, or murdering and beating them up in the middle of the night because they're black, or because they slept with a white woman, or whatever. That's racist. To them, you hear them?
Yeah.
I'll be back.
That's your son.
Oh, man. See, kids, this is why you should always use birth control. Holy Jesus. Anyway, their version of racism, our version of racism, I think depending on where you're at on the political spectrum is two different things. And there's a communication barrier that does not illustrate well who means what when. And anytime there's any kind of vocal discourse, like debate, the people that have the same opinions as we do, as far as what racism is, are shut down.
And I'm not disagreeing with you on that. And I guess I do mean that they are trying to make people who are trans or gay or whatever into a privileged class. But they're not. Nobody is a privileged class.
Nobody should ever
We're
be
all people.
a privileged class.
We
Okay.
all come from pretty much, we all have the same genetics. We all bleed the same. We all have the same organs generally.
Yeah, well, some people are missing appendixes, and so I know what you mean. I was kidding.
But I guess I don't see why just by being gay or wanting to be a man makes you special. That's your life choice. That's who you are.
I want to be a man. What about me?
Then be a man.
Well, okay. So moving on, we're getting off track here.
We are.
So me and James believe that the world is heading to some kind of dystopia, right? Some kind of newspeak, watch what you say, being monitored everywhere you go, no rights. Everyone is just this ubiquitous, single gender, single mind hive of worker bees. And you cannot step out of line or you'll be beaten in prison somewhere. Okay. You believe that there's enough people that are free-thinking individuals that will fight back when this comes down. But how come they haven't started now?
Maybe I just hold more hope.
Well, this is why we're getting into the next question. Given what we've said about the future of our world, what do you think people can do now to start fighting back without, when I say fighting back, I don't mean going and grabbing a rifle and going on some killing spree. Okay, that is not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is little things you can do to civilly disobey,
Think
right?
for
To
yourself.
undermine the power. What do you think people can start doing today?
Think for themselves. Truly think for themselves. Not only just thinking for themselves. If something doesn't sound right to you, research it. Personally research everything that you think might matter to you. Look at both sides. Try and have an unbiased opinion. But definitely think for yourself. Don't let your upbringing shape the way you think about everything.
Well, your upbringing is one thing.
It is, but
may I add a clarification to your statement there?
Absolutely.
Okay. James just got back. We were talking about what people can do today to start fighting the power, right? Well, not like shooting people, but like what they can do on a daily basis to undermine the control, undermine this authoritarianism that is creeping into our country quick. And not just in the United States either. This is worldwide. This thing is happening everywhere. Every developed nation is going through the same thing right now. So the clarification I want to add to you is your upbringing is you're going to have personal truths and then you're going to have objective truths. Your objective truth is things like the sky is blue, right? We all know the sky is blue. The human eye perceives it as blue. The sky is blue. Okay. And then you have personal truths like George Bush was a murdering maniac. Okay. That's my personal truth. And I've had a lot of things that gave me confirmation bias. Watching the news, seeing what he's done. History itself has taught me that George Bush was not a very good president. If anything, he was absolutely terrible. Okay. Same thing with Obama. Same thing with what's turning into Trump and his fucking tyrannical tirade here. Those are all personal truths, but they're not objective truths. Okay. Your upbringing is going to teach you a lot of personal truths. And sometimes you have to put those to the side and really see what you're actually saying. There's a lot of people right now, especially in the Republican side, that are not seeing Trump for what he really is. Okay. This guy is a Democrat in disguise. He's pushed more gun legislation than Obama ever has. Okay. And I'm not saying that those people didn't vote for him for a good reason. He's your guy. I get it. But those are things that you have to be able to look past and understand that your personal bias may have gotten in the way of you seeing the truth a long time ago. So, was that kind of what you're saying?
That is what I'm saying, because I grew up extremely conservative, very, very Republican family on both sides. I mean, and I have certain family members who absolutely love Trump. They are all for Trump 2020. I'm not. At first, during the election, I thought he was the lesser of the two evils. Now I'm not so convinced. But really, just my biggest thing is think for yourself. If you have an opinion, say it. People have the right to be offended, and you have the right to say your opinion.
Just don't force it on others.
Just like, look, I
But
mean,
a conversation. I think if people just started communicating on a level like we are now, just having a conversation.
objectively, without letting your emotions get in the way, what are the facts? And then go from there. Because these discussions end up turning into arguments with most people. Okay, all three of us in this room right now are really good friends. We've talked about this kind of stuff before. I don't think anybody here is going to get angry over somebody else's opinion. But as far as like family members and stuff go, see, and me and you might be in the same boat. I have a lot of conservative family and friends that would absolutely hate my opinion. And it would probably start an argument. So there's a lot of times, too, I keep my mouth shut.
They don't like my opinion.
And maybe that's a bad thing. Maybe my silence is a bad thing. So I think if I were to add something to your free thinking, think for yourself, use your logic, is speak out. Speak out when you see things that you don't like, things that you know are an injustice. You know, if you got a
With
stance,
anything.
take it and take it hard. Don't give up, because a lot of people are buckling right now under the pressure.
But
But
also, I think people also need to be able to listen and not just ignore what they're hearing and seek out the truth. I mean, if you hear something and you're kind of like, wait, no, that doesn't sound right. Maybe you ought to look into it and find out. Maybe the other person is right. You know, you got to be able to think for yourself, but also accept criticism and accept that other people might know more than you do.
That's true. You know,
And that falls into research.
Right.
Research. Look it up. You have the world at your fingertips.
Oh, the internet age right now is a fantastic source, as it is right now, as long as it's not messed with. You can learn anything. As long as you can read and type, you can find out anything. You have, just like you said, the world at your fingertips. But I think there's physical things people can do, though, to resist, right? Like, for instance, if our local municipality says that you can only collect 200 gallons of rainwater a year, I would say collect 201, right? I mean, just little things like that, but you keep doing that, right? Switch to cryptocurrency, maybe skirt a little taxes here and there, because it is theft. I don't care what anybody says, okay? Your tax money is going to bombing Syrians right now. Is that what you want? To bomb brown people who haven't done anything, that don't want us there?
No.
No, right? It's theft. A very small portion of your taxes actually goes to fixing roads and delivering mail, okay? On the other end of that, though, there's also things like being an advocate for what you believe in. You know, going out, making a ruckus, maybe getting into arguments on purpose with people, especially if you have a nice, solid stance. And you don't have to be an asshole, but you can, if you find a way where you can communicate to people on a clear basis and be like, hey, look, maybe you should consider this objective truth instead of your personal truth, and see how you fare when you maybe switch sides on the subject. And they might walk away with something. If not, you tried, you did your best, and you're part of the rebellion from there on. The whole part of this the whole point of this podcast, we're skeptics, right? We don't believe what we're told by hardly anybody. We investigate, right? We find out why this person is so dead set on trying to convince us of this truth, when the real truth is the exact opposite sometimes. What about you, man? What do you think people can do today to start fighting back against the power?
I mean, part of what I already said, I think people researching a lot of it and finding out their truth behind stuff instead of, because I do feel that media and a lot of stuff that's out there isn't always the truth, and it's one-sided. It's someone else's opinion and not so much the truth. And I think that's one thing people really need to look more into. It's just like the whole thing with the vape. You know, I know we're probably going to talk more about that in the future, but it's just like a lot of people saying it's so horrible and all this, but yet where is the actual facts? You know, they talk about what, 5 people now have died about it? 6 people? How many people have died from smoking cigarettes?
Okay, hold on.
We'll get into that in just a few minutes.
That's an awesome segue, though. I'm going to drop a bomb on the listeners here. Did you know more people have died from anal sex in this last week than anybody has died from vaping in the last 10 years?
There's been 6.
6 people have died. Okay. And they've narrowed it down to a few things. One of them was vitamin E acetate, which is what they use in THC vaping to like a coagulant almost for this. And the result is you get a pneumonia, and it's like when you inhale hydraulic fluid or some kind of oil. Okay. It's the same effect. But it's been localized to an area, which is the northern East Coast, and it has been localized to what the CDC says is a few manufacturers have used this stuff, and I think it came from the black market. Okay, none of this is being said at all in the news. They are just attacking vaping, and what blows me away is it's like none of it's a nonsensical argument, or nonsensical. Then there's another word for that. Nonsensical sounds like consensual, doesn't it?
Well, it just goes to what I'm saying is people need to actually go out and search and research more of the stuff than just going off of what they see on media or what the news is telling them or what the government is saying. Because sometimes what other people want is what they're going to try and force upon you by trying to make you believe that that's the truth.
Yeah, I mean, you got to know the media is in the pocket of the government no matter what.
Well, the world revolves around money. How much money does a cigarette company make, and how much money can they turn around to try and promote or put down some other company that they're losing money from? It's just like any other corporation, any other system. The government is just as corrupt as all sorts of other places. Money is what controls the world. The government has their pockets everywhere, so of course you're going to only be told what the government wants. That guns are bad. More people die from this. You know what?
Or
more people die from...
Or Epstein really committed suicide.
Oh, yeah. Well, it just falls down to more people die from malpractice a year than people die from gun shootings.
Oh, yeah, of course. And
more people die from knives, being knifed, than, baseball bat, blunt objects.
You know, the FBI, as bad as I actually hate them, they keep a really good record on shootings. And if you look, gun violence has gone down consecutively over like the last 5 years. It's gone down.
Because more and more people are carrying guns. How often do you hear of some mass shootout at the gun range or at a police station or somewhere where people obviously are armed?
I think the only shooting I know of that happened at a gun range that I've personally heard of was Chris Kyle. That's where he died. He had a Marine buddy that had PTSD, and the guy just shot him. Now, that's a whole different situation. That's, I find, very isolated. The guy was suicidal, and I think he killed himself. So, look, the information is valuable right now, and I think one of the first places they're going to try to attack when the powers do try to, convert us all into little shaved-headed freaks is to eliminate that dangerous information, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that going on right now. There's look at the 3D printed guns. They threw the biggest fit over that. It's a single shot, like 5.56. It's plastic. It's nobody has a 3D printer like that. Well, people do, but the amount of money it would take to buy a 3D printer capable of doing that, you could buy 10 ARs if you could pass a background check. Okay, it's so dumb that they flipped out over this 3D printer schematics thing. And that goes to show you that we still have an edge, folks, that the government is still scared of us. They are terrified of us. And you want that. Okay? Use like encrypted communications. Can you imagine if you and your wife, okay, or you and your God damn, I can't talk. Significant other, your kids, your boss, your coworkers, if you talked in encrypted code, and the government can see your phone lighting up, it can see the signal, but it can't read it, that would drive them crazy. Seeing hearing the noise, but not being able to understand it. Oh my God, they'd flip out. And right now, it's already a problem with them. They hate encrypted messaging. And I would suggest everyone go to encrypted messages all the time. It could save your ass later on. You don't know. Because what happens now if you were at Walmart and somebody happened to have gotten raped at Walmart 2 years ago, and it shows that you were there, right? And maybe you made a joke to your buddy about some kind of rape victim or something. We all have sick jokes, right? Everyone jokes on a gross basis sometimes. And they see that joke in there, and then they tie you to Walmart. oh, all of a sudden you're suspect number one. Okay, it's little things like that can hem people up. There's countless records from the ACLU where they've gotten people out because this kind of stuff was happening 20 years ago. Okay, always try to encrypt your communications between people, especially if you're using phones or going online. Sorry, I know I'm going on a tangent here.
Oh, you're good. I was just waiting for my opinion to be told to you.
Oh, tell it to me.
I am.
Oh,
So-
Poppy.
You can get up closer to the mic
Is
too.
that better?
Yeah, you need to speak up just a little bit because I'm looking at my sound and it seems to be like I'm the only one talking all that loud.
It's because I sound like a 10-year-old.
You sound better there. There you go.
Okay. So with all this vaping stuff, I think it's insane to ban it because they're only banning flavored e-juice, not tobacco flavored, which tobacco flavored is disgusting.
Isn't tobacco flavor still a flavor though? When they use wouldn't they still use the same coagulants to make the e-juice flavored like tobacco?
Exactly.
Oh my God! Then how is it not going to kill people?
It's because flavors are more popular.
Well, yeah, I don't want something that tastes like a cigarette.
Oh no, the kids, the poor
Well,
kids. Think about the
they're-
children.
If kids are going to want to smoke, they're going to smoke. If kids want to vape, they're going to vape. And here's the thing. I have a very weird birthday. My birthday is February 29th. Do you know that I had to send a picture of my driver's license to even be able to buy e-juice because it didn't recognize my birthday as a day?
You're not a human being.
No,
Okay.
you're born outside the system. Now
But-
they're going to come take all of your assets now.
Oh, well, I don't have anything, so good luck with that.
Oh, everything's in your name.
Nothing's really worth it.
You never know. With me having a criminal record, they might decide that I owe $100,000 more in restitution and come take all my stuff, which I don't own. Right?
Good luck with that. I mean, nothing's really going to amount to anything.
God damn. You know, see, now me and James here have a whole nother level of scrutiny because we have a record. We're terrible people, right? So our opinions don't matter. Did you know in Colorado we can hold office? But who would vote for us? Oh, they dig up all
I
kinds of
would.
dirty stuff. That's the only reason why I don't. I would try to do this on a political level. I would get in office and I would start striking laws from the books, and I would start deregulating everything. And they would want to get me out as fast as possible because we'd be losing money as a government agency like crazy. You best bet this would be the most free county in Colorado. It damn near is now, but you can't go anywhere else and talk like this. People
No.
throw a fit.
I was going to say the governor of the state is the one who's ruining the state, not the mayor of our area.
Yeah. Well, the people, by the way, if you guys are local to Colorado, we had that Recall Polis thing going on, the initiative. I don't know if you guys have seen those people on the side of the road having you sign a petition. Now, we didn't get enough signatures by a long shot. Really? This is a professional podcast.
But is it?
Yeah, no, you can't interrupt podcast. We're not editing this out.
I don't want to talk to that person anyways.
Anyway.
Anyway, they didn't have enough signatures. Now, the thing is, and these people really, wow,
I'm trying to mute it.
wow, yep, high-end production services right here, Rocky Mountain Skeptic Society podcast.
It's because my phone's on mute, but it goes through the audio part of it. Because it's freaking Facebook phone call.
Anyway.
You know, you can solve that problem by just not having a phone like I do.
It's a great idea.
It is a
Anyway.
fantastic idea. You know how peaceful my life is?
Yeah, they all call me.
Yeah, it'd be so great with me having a child that I share custody to when I have to
Hey, I share-
legally actually have a
I
form
share
of
custody
communication.
I share custody with my kids with my wife.
It is entirely true.
No, I don't blame anybody else for having a phone. To be honest, having a phone does one of two things for me. One, it distracts me from my life, and I end up living in the matrix in this digital world that the powers that be built for us to live in, full of advertising and useless things that I have absolutely no use for in my life. Yeah, right. And number two, it gets me in trouble. I'm not going to lie. I see these pretty girls. They're like, hey, hit me up on Facebook. And I'm like, hell yeah. And then I forget I'm married. Well, I don't forget, but I neglect the fact that I'm married, and I get a shitload of trouble. So, yeah, I completely avoid having a phone. I
Yeah.
took steps to make sure my relationship works by not having a phone. There you go.
That's
For all those
that,
people
isn't
that
it?
didn't know why I don't have a phone, if you're always trying to get a hold of me, that's why.
So what's your third question?
There was only
There
two.
was only 2. That was it.
Oh, I thought
Yeah.
you said 3.
So I'm gonna go back to the vaping thing because I was not finished saying my piece just
We
Fuck.
yet.
cut you off.
You
Oh my
did.
God.
How
God
We
rude.
damn it.
sexist bastards.
Fuck.
You two are always talking over me. It's rude.
It's because you're a woman. It must
I
be.
know. Anywho,
Oh, don't let the
You
Don't-
knew I was gonna say something.
don't let
about
the air
who.
don't let the air go silent. You best start talking right now. 3, 2, 1, go.
and go. I think it's insane to ban it. People are going to do what they want to do anyway. I like vaping. I like vaping delicious flavors like cotton candy and green apple. And they taste good. And it does not taste like a cigarette.
Don't forget about the watermelon.
No, it's
Well, actually, watermelon's not my favorite. Cotton candy is my favorite.
and for those of you that smoke, if you've never tried vaping, you should. I recommend it. If you've tried the early pens, like back in, I don't know, probably about 5 years ago, vaping really wasn't all that great yet. But there has been huge advancements in the technology. When you take a hit of a vape pen or a vape modded unit, you actually get what they call a lung body. That same feeling you get when you inhale a cigarette, that nice fullness. You get the same thing with a vape, and it's greatly satisfying, if not better. But the problem is now we've smoked due to some issues with our mods, and now I feel like I'm addicted to both. It sucks, but we're trying to cut down on the cigarettes and completely quit now. But,
Again.
But go ahead. I'm sorry. You know what? And I apologize on mine and James's behalf for cutting you off all the time.
It's okay. I'll just keep cutting in.
Yeah,
fine.
cut
I'm an
in.
aggressive driver.
Yeah, no,
What
be
can I say?
aggressive.
I'm not aggressive. That's the thing. Anyway, I think banning it is absolutely insane. But here's the thing. If you're careful with where you buy from, you know what you're getting. I choose to buy from an online website that is called vaporsocietysupply.com. Absolutely fantastic. They have a store in Vegas.
Sponsor us.
Whether they sponsor us or not, I'm going to continue buying from them. But they have an actual store. All of their ingredients are not only listed online of what you're buying, but they're listed on the bottle. And we did have an issue where I bought a new mod. I was so excited for it. It was a smock mod. And here's the thing. I ended up getting a fake one. The first one I bought was fake. I called the company. It took me forever to get a hold of them. I have not used that company since because they had no phone number. All I could do was email them. And that was a mistake on my part. But Smock themselves ended up replacing my mod for me, which was amazing because they wanted the fake one.
What are you doing? You want to come say hi?
You want to come say hi, Bubby? You gotta stand up here.
This is our son, Christopher.
Here,
Close the door. You gotta close the door, guys.
come here, Christopher. Stand up. You want to say hi?
Hi.
You have to talk into the microphone.
Hi.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, is that all you want? Do you want to say hi too, Leah?
We're so laid back here, we just let the kids come in. BS.
Hi.
Do you have anything important you need to say?
Hi. Bye.
Wait, hey, talk about the new puppies.
You want to tell them about our puppy?
A new puppy? Peas everywhere.
Yeah, peas everywhere.
Yeah.
Has she pooped yet anywhere?
She pooped in our house one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've
One
only
day.
had the puppies for 2 days.
What's her name?
Her name is Anna. And one is named Camo.
Camo, yeah. All right, baby. Thank you.
All right, you want to go play now?
We go to Rocky's house.
Whose house?
No.
Rocky's house.
No.
No, he has a bloody nose.
Okay. Yeah, you guys need to get out now.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Take a sip and then go play.
All right, well, we're going to take a short break. We'll come back here in a minute, and we will finish off our discussion about vaping and fighting the powers that be on the after show. Oh, yeah. Alrighty, and we're back. So, I guess to wrap this up, do you guys have any last words about the rebellion?
Viva la revolution.
What? we don't want no French shit in here. We want freedom fries.
Freedom fries. No viva la revolution.
I have no idea what.
I think it's just Viva la Revolution.
Yeah, you don't do a very good French accent.
No. Horrible. Fucking horrible.
C'est bleu.
No. Anyway, apparently it means no. So, sorry we kind of got distracted here. We're actually airing this as we're uploading. Now, as you guys know, or maybe you don't, there's a lot of editing that goes into these podcasts, a lot of stuff going on. So if we don't upload every 2 weeks like we're planning on doing, probably because we had a power outage or something, these things take forever to upload, and our upload speeds are not the greatest. So we're going to try to find ways to speed that up for everybody. That way we can have an actual set schedule when these come out, which are going to be bi-weekly. And that's all I have to say.
Yeah, that's about it. Other than be careful where you buy your juice.
Yeah,
Seriously, don't buy Chinese stuff. It's
don't
not
buy
a good idea.
Yeah, we don't know what's in those, right?
And hope you enjoy.
Yeah. We'll see you guys episode 6. We got some good stuff coming. We'll probably revisit the vaping thing and a few others. We got a really good bad cop of the week. And that's it. So see you guys later.
See you later.
Hasta luego.
Oh my god.
Oh my lord.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think that episode went as smooth as a baby's ass. Come by next time for another swinging episode of the Rocky Mountain Skeptic Society After Show.